It's the 20th of February 2026. The other day on the homepage, what popped up, a interview with Peter North, who is a famous, world-renowned porno star. And I've seen at least 4 or 5 of his videos in the 90s as I was coming of age. A very mainstream looking guy. He got a lot of work. And then the zeros, I kind of forgot about him in a sense. And the other day on the homepage, on the YouTube homepage, it said Peter North. And his it said it was a Peter North interview. TT Boy did the interview, and so I left that alone for a while. Then eventually I conceived and thought, you know what, I'm kind of interested to watch this. Now, TT Boy is a Puerto Rican porn star who made his adult film debut in 1988. It stated that TT Boy, throughout his pornographic career, that he has had sex with 10,000 women or more. Now I guess that's something to be proud of. My numbers are lower than that. So the pornographic career, yes, something to be proud of. Now, I insert sarcasm there. Okay, so I started watching TT Boy, and being Peter North being interviewed by TT Boy, and I was like, who the fuck is this guy? TT Boy guy, right? TT Boy. Oh yeah. TT Boy. Instead I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? And I'm trying to work it out. I'm looking at him, and first of all, the table that is being interviewed, that Peter North is being interviewed at, the table is too small. And it has to be much wider, like Joe Rogan's is. And the interview goes for 3 hours. I stopped watching after about an hour because it became degrading. It became not right. TT Boy comes across as some kind of half hipster, half gangster, self-appointed stud, and not great. TT Boy is not great at interviewing people. In fact, I'm thinking, could Peter North have not been interviewed by somebody else more reputable? Now, during the interview, they did make it clear that they had known each other for years, but what came across in the video that I saw freaking weird hipster bastard, weird hipster, self-appointed stud. This guy Peter North, he seems pretty okay. Self-appointed stud, self-appointed stud. In this video is that they hadn't known each other that well, that they didn't necessarily know each other. That's what came across. And TT Boy was not asking great questions, more so creepy sexual orientated questions, which I would not have asked Peter North. They even talked about masturbating. They talked about TT Boy went into this weird area of conversation, sexual orientated, like sexual subjects, which I suppose that's what two porn stars do when they're conversing with each other. I suppose that ends up being the subject. What else do you talk about? And so I think it would be much better if Peter North were interviewed by, we did a podcast, we did Joe Rogan. I don't know how keen Joe Rogan is on conversing with Peter North, though. And there were some very awkward moments where TT Boy was asking questions that I felt weren't necessary, just about women, about what he'd done with women, even at one point how Peter North had in his hometown stood at a cliff, and just below were a couple of women who were mostly naked. So he started masturbating, he started jerking off to them. TT Boy brought this subject up, and I could tell that Peter North was not overly impressed by this, but because he'd known TT Boy, he's known him for many years, he tolerated the question. He sort of didn't evade the question. He said, yes, I masturbated in public, outdoors, from a distance, while watching two women from a distance. And I just thought, I suppose that's what you do. I suppose that's what two famous porn stars, do when they're revisiting the past, when they're having a catch-up, when they're reflecting on the past. And at one point, TT Boy asked Peter North, so who do you think was the best? And Peter North, without hesitation, said, you're the best, you're the best, you're the best. It's like almost grandizing himself. It was tragic, yet entertaining. I've never heard of TT Boy before, ever. I've never heard of him. He's probably been in a few of the pornos that I watched back in the day. Peter North, yes, but I thought Peter North was a bit robotic. I never overly thought much of Peter North. I was like, oh, that guy, because he did turn up in a few of the pornos that I viewed back in the 90s. But this interview was almost, okay, so TT Boy came across as the sleazy hipster self-appointed stud because he slept with over 10,000 women. I'm just wondering how many women he would have slept with if it was not, he wasn't being paid to do so. But and he came across as kind of gangster, sleazy sort of thing, self-appointed stud. Peter North came across as, I don't know what he's like in person when the camera's off, but he came across as mainly humble, calm, cool, collected. And TT Boy came across as, actually I'm going to tell you exactly who TT Boy reminds me of. Exactly. It took me a little while to figure this out at first. He reminded me exactly of this guy. Raymond Cruz. Raymond Cruz? Raymond. Okay, so the way that Raymond Cruz is in Training Day is exactly what TT Boy came across to me as while conversing with he, the interview went for 3 hours. I stopped watching after an hour because I kind of got I stopped watching after an hour. I stopped watching this conversation, this interview after an hour because I grew tired of TT Boy's disposition, of his, I wasn't fond of him. Kept coming across as this hipster gangster stud, and I think Peter North is interesting, but I think Peter North needs to be interviewed by the right person who's going to ask the right questions. TT Boy is not asking the right questions. In fact, he could have almost continually put Peter North in an awkward position. And Peter North, which is actually not his real name, I did look up his real name. Peter North calmly answers the questions. I guess that's typical porn talk between two. That's how two porn stars who've been in the industry for years typically talk. But I did not think that it was the way that TT Boy, the questions that he asked were too sleazy for my liking, and I think that the interview could have taken on a far better direction than that. Apparently they've known each other for years and years and been in the same scenes together. Okay, it didn't seem like they knew each other too well for this. Like, that's the way it came across to me. Yeah. I'm going to include like a bit of footage, I think, because I'm off YouTube. I've been off YouTube for 2 days now, giving it a break. It was such a weird interview. I guess that's what happens when two porn stars get together. Anyway, okay. Not a well done interview. I don't think TT Boy should conduct interviews. He's not very good at them.